Hello, this is Neville. Welcome to our 20th guided study through the New Testament. We're looking at Matthew chapter 17. On the map in front of you, you will see we're at the end of Jesus' ministry. He has just told his disciples that he is to go to Jerusalem and that he will die in Jerusalem. Peter, after having confessed that he is the Christ, now gets rebuked. And Jesus says that he's Satan, that he's hindering the ministry of Jesus. Unfortunately, Jesus' ministry is always full of surprises for all those who would follow him. But he is sovereign. He is our Savior. And as such, we have to follow him wherever he will lead us. The outline then shows the splendor of the Savior. It shows also the sovereignty of the Savior. And finally, it shows us the suffering of the Savior. Let's read our text together. Verse 1. And after 6 days Jesus took with him Peter, James, and John, his brother, and led them up a high mountain by themselves. Notice that more often than not, Peter, James, and John are always close to Jesus. Verse 2. And he was transfigured before them, and his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. And behold, there appeared to them Moses and Elijah talking with him. Why Moses and Elijah? Because Moses and Elijah represent the law and the prophets, the entire Old Testament. So here we have Peter, James, and John representing the apostles, along with Moses and Elijah representing the Old Testament, and also Jesus. And Peter said to them, Lord, it is good that we are here. If you wish, I will make 3 tents here, one for you, and one for Moses, and one for Elijah. He was still speaking when, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and a voice from the cloud said, This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. Short comment. Peter is the only person I know to speak while God is speaking. And also, even though we have the apostles represented, even though we have the Old Testament represented, Jesus, God's voice says we need to listen to Jesus, his Son, from this point on. And if you want more information about this, look at Hebrews chapter 1, verses 1 and 2. Verse 6. When the disciples heard this, they fell on their faces and were terrified. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, Rise and have no fear. And when they lifted up their eyes, they saw no one but Jesus only. But as they were coming down the mountain, Jesus commanded them, Tell no one the vision until the Son of Man is raised from the dead. And the disciples asked him, Then why do the scribes say that first Elijah must come? Jesus answered, Elijah does come, and he will restore all things. But I tell you that Elijah has already come, and they did not recognize him, but did to him whatever they pleased. So also the Son of Man will certainly suffer at their hands. Then the disciples understood that he was speaking to them of John the Baptist. Think for a moment how this transfiguration on the mountain helped to restore Peter back to his faith after having been rebuked. First of all, saying that Jesus Christ, Son of God, and then being rebuked. And now this incredible scene. Verse 14. And when they came to the crowd, a man came to him and kneeling before him said, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is an epileptic and suffers terribly. For often he falls into the fire and often into the water. And I brought him to your disciples, and they could not heal him. Jesus answered, O faithless and twisted generation, how long am I to be with you? How long am I to bear with you? Bring him here to me. We see that Jesus, as a true leader, first of all instructs his disciples, and then he will model to his disciples what they need to do in verse 18. And Jesus rebuked the demon, and it came out of him, and the boy was healed instantly. Then the disciples came to Jesus privately and said, Why could we not cast it out? He said to them, Because of your little faith. For truly I say to you, if you have faith like a grain of mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, Move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. And so not only does Jesus instruct them, not only does Jesus evaluate, but Jesus even assesses their progress. Verse 22. As they were gathering in Galilee, Jesus said to them, "The Son of Man is about to be delivered into the hands of men, and they will kill him, and he will be raised on the third day." And they were greatly distressed. When they came to Capernaum, the collectors of the 2 drachma tax went up to Peter and said, "Does your teacher not pay the tax?" He said, "Yes." And when he came into the house, Jesus spoke to him first, saying, "What do you think, Simon? From whom do kings of the earth take toll or tax? From their sons or from others?" And when he said, "From others," Jesus said to him, then the sons are free. However, not to give offense to them, go to the sea and cast a hook, and take the first fish that comes up, and when you open its mouth you will find a shekel. Take that and give it to them for me and for yourself." Again, when we look at this study, we're reminded that Jesus is going to go wherever he needs to go, and he's going to do whatever he needs to do. He is the King. He is the Savior. And if we are to follow him, we're going to be filled with surprises. But at the end of the day, if we let him take control, he will handle these surprises, and we can find ourselves comfortably under his care. God bless you as you walk with your Savior.